Good boy, Tucker.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
Work smarter where you want.
Consistency is key.
And remember, if it's not in Redtail, it never happened.
This is learning at its most fun.
Good. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Catherine Beltran. I'm a trainer here at Redtail Technology, and welcome to another Thursday webinar. Today we have another Redtail Essentials coming at you, but today we're going to be talking about broadcast emails. So if you've never sent out a broadcast email in the system, be prepared. We're going to get you set up today, get you going. But if not, maybe you're just sitting there, you're like, I want to send out broadcast emails, but I'm kind of running into a problem. It's like failing type of thing. Well, we'll definitely point out kind of how you should get things set up prior to actually trying to send out a broadcast email, and then we will actually try to send one out type of thing. So let's jump in. So let me hop on over to my other screen here, and here we go. All right, so on the Today page, we're actually going to start off in the preference section. So if you've never changed your preferences, I recommend definitely heading in there. It's not too difficult. But to get there, you're actually going to start by clicking your name and then actually just picking that first option. Go ahead and picking preferences. And the reason why I'm actually starting out in this section is for us to actually send out a broadcast email, we have to have our email settings actually put in here. Otherwise, it's kind of going off of like a really weird kind of faith that's just not going to happen. So if you actually scroll almost all the way to the bottom, like literally almost all the way at the end, you're going to see this section called emails. Now in here, this is where we can kind of set up some signatures to save, but where I really need us to focus is that SMTP server name. So for us to actually send out a broadcast email, we need to make sure that we have this SMTP server name, server port, and this checked off, and then of course our actual login. So if you don't know your server name and server port information, don't worry, there's a couple ways you can always go about doing that. One, usually you can always just find the SMTP section under your actual email preferences. So like if you use Outlook, if you go to like the preference settings, or I'm sorry, the actual account settings, usually you can see it there. Same with kind of like Gmail and things like that. If you have us that host it, good news, here it is. This is the information you're looking for. But if you don't know that way, if you're going in there, you're just like, okay, I'm lost again. No worries. You can always ask your IT department. They'll definitely know how to help you out there. Worst case scenario, option 3, a quick Google search. I know I've actually Googled Outlook before, and it's literally the first thing that pops up. It's like, here's the settings for Outlook. Perfect. You can actually, again, just quick Google search, and you'll get specifically this information, and then you'll check off this box here. Now this username and password, that's actually like your login. So like what you use to get into your email. So it might be like your name at, redtailtechnology.com or at gmail.com or whatever it is, but it's usually just your email itself. And then the password you use to get into your actual account. So it's nothing like unusual. It's not this third secret hidden login information that we didn't give to you. Now this is stuff that you use every day. But coming back up to this section, this one's not as tricky. It's more of just kind of helping you set it up. So it's saving you a little time down the road. And it's actually this top part here. So this email client, you have the option of using internal or external. So what that just really means is if it's internal, it's gonna create the pop-up within your actual system to set it out. If you have it as external and you use MacMail or Outlook on your desktop, it'll actually open up like another box for that email host itself. So if you have internal, it just looks like literally pop it open, bam, it's there. Or if you have it as external, it's gonna literally pop open another kind of like pop up for that email itself. So just depending on how you do it, either or is gonna work perfectly fine. Below that is the actual display name. So how you want your name to look like when you're sending it out. Usually it's just going to be your first and last name, but maybe you go by a nickname and you're like, no, I don't want to go by Catherine, maybe I go by Katie type of thing. I can put that in there so that way they know specifically, hey, this is how it's going to look when it comes in. Below this is that email signature. So if you don't want to have to put in a signature every single time you send it out, goodness, you don't have to. You can put that information in here. Now, if you see, there's kind of like these hyperlinks, and there's actually an image in here. So if you have your name or your company logo that you want to put in, you do have that option, but it's a little bit unique, the fact that you can't just copy and paste the image in. If you want an image like this, you do actually have to use this little image icon here. So like, let's pretend this wasn't in here and I wanted to add it in. I'd actually have to come in here, click this, and then it's actually going to ask for like a URL. So if I were to do that and I come over, I pulled up my website and I actually want this logo, I have to copy this image address. Now, if your actual signature is online, or again, like your website type of thing, you can always just copy in that actual URL like so, and it'll go in. Now, no one wants to be blinded by a logo, so definitely you can adjust the size over here. So I'm just make it a lot smaller, something like that. And then that way you can have it fit and it'll actually go in looking something like this. So you can tweak with that size. You can definitely add that image, and you can add, again, you could be, whether it's yourself, because I know some people put their own portrait with their email signature, or again, like your company logo. Same kind of concept with like emails and phone numbers. You can make these so that they are like clickable hyperlinks from here. So like I have Tucker's in here, but maybe I want to have like alternative email address type of thing. Alt email, put it in here. Well, maybe we'll put the training team. Redtail Technology. Glad I could spell today. Perfect. And I can come up here, hyperlink this, and then it'll have like link type. So in here, you'll have link to another anchor. We have email, which is what we're going to be clicking, and then phone number like we have up here actually. So if I come in email, and then that's when I'd put in training at redtailtechnology.com, something like that. And then as you can see, it's going to go ahead and hyperlink that actual email address. So again, you can put whatever you really need in your email, and then that way it's set up every single time you set that broadcast email, you're all good to go. Just again, the one thing we always like to think, I know it's newer, it actually saves automatically, but I always like to save preferences, double, kind of just cover my butt type of thing. Save those preferences, that way I didn't just put a whole bunch of details for no reason. So we're good there. So as long as you've got this set up here, but most importantly, we have this information here, we can actually send out broadcast emails. But before we hop into that, because I know that's what you came in here for, I do want to give kind of some tips and tricks, the type of thing with the broadcast emails before we actually hop in. So if I actually come up to my name and then manage your account this time, so not preferences, manage your account, there's just a couple of items that exist in this section that could, again, help you out. And the first thing that I actually want to point out is under this manage templates, this email templates. So if you've got an email that you set up, like maybe it's like client review reminders where it's like, hey, just a heads up, we've got you coming in this week, just want to make sure it's still a good time, or something like that. You can definitely save that in as a new email template, so that way you don't have to type it out every single time type of thing. Or if you've got something like this, maybe even where it's like a prospecting email, we've got your name, we don't really know much about you, but we want to reach out. And this, I really want to point out, is this option for those mail merge fields. So if you've never used a mail merge, and you're sitting here going, what's with all these, hashtags or pound signs, whatever you do with the first name, there is an actual article on our help desk that has just specifically mail merge fields. You can always just copy over and put it in here. But in here, what this is going to do is kind of take the guesswork out for you and make it a more personalized email. So if you have it where you're sending it out to, Gary, Bob, Jim, Mary, Lou, all these good people, it's going to populate those names for you, so that way you don't have to send those individually to make it unique, versus it being like a high valued customer and no one feeling valued type of thing. So in here, you can use those mail merges, but in here, this is where, again, you're going to copy in those email templates or kind of those common emails that we send out. I know a big one that might help is like if you move like offices frequently, or if you've just updated like your phone number or email addresses and things like that, just sending a quick template that's like, hey, we moved type of thing. You can save it and then always just change the addresses as you move type of thing. So that way you're not literally rewriting it every time. You have that option as well. But in here, again, you're just going to name it something pretty simple like here. So I know this is prospecting email number 1. But if it is something like we're moving places, you can put it as like moving email template. Again, something very easy. And then subject, this is literally the subject of the email itself. So that way, when it comes over to the person, they're not sitting over here going prospecting email. What is that? No, you're going to put in there like, hey, here's the financial consultation, respond or something like that. You do also have the option under this category, and this category list is the exact same that we've seen before for those activities and notes and workflows and things like that. That's where this is coming in. But in here, I know we have one that's just prospecting, so I can just have it so that way it's categorizing it, just again for a little extra layer of organization. And again, coming in here, you can always use those different formatting skills. You don't have to just leave it all a bunch. You can bullet point things out. Again, add an email or those links. You have those options, kind of similar to like our settings itself. But at the bottom here, you can have, so that way we just set up that signature. You can have it checked off so that when we're sending this, I don't have to come in here and add that signature again. Nope, just check this box. It's going to copy what we had just put in for those settings preferences, and we're good to go there. Coming over, you also have two other options as well. So save copy as a note, literally a note to the actual contact record itself, or maybe you want to actually send yourself a copy type of thing. You have that option as well. So you can always just check those off. Now, if you're building the template and you don't check these things off, you do have the option later on when you're actually setting it. I'll point it out again. But if you know for a fact you need it every time, you might as well just build it into the template itself. And then you'll just update that email or save the email and you're good to use it. So I definitely recommend hopping in here and putting in those email templates that you know you do frequently to just go ahead and save you some time. Nothing's worse than when you go over and over and over and you're like, well, this was fun. Save yourself that few seconds and that sanity for yourselves and just go ahead and make that email template. So again, that's under your name and then manage your account. And then that's under manage templates, email templates. Now the other option, or not option, I should say, the other item I recommend under the manage templates is actually a custom export template. But specifically to find any of those contacts we might be missing emails for. Because if we, a broadcast email is all banking on the contact having an email address. Nothing's worse than we try to go send something and of course it's missing or something's not marked as a primary email address. And again, you want to have a contact have, and I'll just pull it open just so we can see here. I'll pull up Clark Kent here. You want to have to make sure that an actual email exists, but we want to have one that's primary so that way the system knows that, hey, there's an email linked up, here's where you want to send it to. If you don't have it marked as primary, it's going to run this whole search for it and going, oh no, it doesn't exist, when it really does. So if we want to find those contacts that might be missing email addresses and more so importantly, might be missing those primary emails, we can actually make a custom export template that we can run against all of our contacts to make sure all of our information is current and up to date. And if it isn't, we can fix it. So that way we're not running down the road going, this failed, why? No, we're gonna fix it now. So we can come over, create a new, we can say something like finding primary email addresses, something like that. Maybe I want to get that full name just so I know who it's linking to. And then under contact details, it looks like I'm pretty good there. I don't need too much information. I just really want this primary email address. So if I kind of scroll down, not sure if you quite caught that there, but under contact information, that's where that primary email exists. So I'm just going to go ahead and check that box off. If you do want to go ahead and take this time, if you're looking for that and you want to make sure that, hey, they have a phone number or they have a primary address as well, you can always add those on here too. And instead of making an email, just saying primary contact information, things like that. Perfectly fine, you can do that. But in here, I'm gonna make it really simple. I just want the contact full name, just the primary email, and that's it. I'm not gonna worry about anything else for once, just those two little things. Not gonna worry about ordering too much because this is perfect. And I'm just gonna save that. So again, I have this as an actual export saved right here, and then I can again run it against my contacts. So just being able to do that, just to make sure, again, nothing is missing in the system and I don't learn it the hard way when I can't email them because I don't know their email address. Nothing's worse than that. So just that quick seconds, as you see, took just a few moments, got that set up, and it'll be good to go. We can use it for the future, type of like just double checking once a month type of thing, maybe even just to make sure if we add new contacts, nothing slips through the cracks. Now, the very last thing I want to go over under the manage your account section, since this is the third item now, is the actual manage broadcast emails section. So in this section itself, kind of view this as like the history for this section. Maybe you are attempting to send a broadcast email and you're like, it's been a couple minutes, what's happening type of thing. This is actually going to show you the queue process. Now, I don't have anything on file, of course, but if I did, it would let you know, like, hey, here's what's happening. Similarly, you can go back and look at what's been completed. So you can always come in here and say, oh, look at this one failed, but this one was successful. You'll get this information as you go through just to say, oh, hey, here's my complete history of my broadcast email. The last one you can look at is that canceled option. So you got queued, completed, and canceled. Most of the time, you're probably just going to be looking within these two, unless you're really making sure you're like, I know I clicked it, I think I canceled it. You could definitely take a look here. It'll definitely give you that information. But again, view this is just like your broadcast email history. So far we've gone over making sure to set up your preferences so we can actually send out the broadcast email. And then we've gone over the 3 items in the manager accounts, the email templates under manage templates and the custom export template under manage templates. And lastly, that manage broadcast email. So now that we've kind of got this background built, let's actually go into making or actually trying to send a broadcast email. How does that sound? So if you're just on this page, you can always hop over to contacts, or if you're on the today page, any page you're on, you can always hop over to contacts. And now if you have something where it is something like a we're moving type of broadcast email, where it might be all of your contacts, you can just click on all. You'll get, I have 578, yours is definitely going to be a different number, maybe less, maybe more, either or is perfectly fine. But maybe again, like I said, it's one of those things I need them to know I moved, that way they're not heading to the wrong place. Let's not set them up for failure. So I can highlight everyone, click that option to bold everyone, and come over to my contact options on the right. So if I come down, I'm going to come under bulk actions and then broadcast email right here. So here I have my broadcast email. I have this option in here. If I wanted an email template, I can pick it from here. But as you can see, it's going to go ahead and pre-populate how I wanted my name to be displayed and my actual email address. And then as you can see, I have my 578 selected here. And in here, I can just type in my subject of, hey, we moved, something like that. Then we'd come in here and be like, hello, everyone. Hello, just wanted to let you know we have moved offices. You know, something like that, something very basic. That way everyone has that information, they get that going, you're good to go. And that way we're not sending them to an old address and then they're knocking on the door going, hey, I'm here to see you. No, you could just quickly send something like that. And then again, as I kind of pointed out when we were building that email template, you still have that option to save copy as a note and send me a copy as well. And then if I had scrolled down just a second here, you'll see here's my signature. So it already pre-populated for me. All I have to do is actually send the broadcast email. Now, I do want to show you like an email template itself. So you don't have to send it to all of your contacts. Maybe you have a specific group you want to send it to. I'll go ahead and I'll do like an advanced search. Maybe I want to send that prospecting email, for example. And I just want it to go to all my contacts who are specifically labeled as a status equal to prospect. Perfect. So I can make it kind of broad like that. Maybe I did want to put it more specifically hot or cold. Actually, no, I am going to put hot. Go ahead. Contact category equal to hot. Perfect. So we'll go from 34 records down to 13. So these are my top people. And I'm good to go here. I got my list. Let's get this. So if I go ahead, again, I'll click everyone here. Out of habit, I always just like to select all 13 contacts. Usually that comes into play mostly when we have those big large groups like 578. So that way it just captures everyone. The way to kind of think of that is that this only loads so many on a page, and we want to make sure that everyone's captured. So out of habit, I just always check that off though. Again, nothing new here. We're going to come back over to contact options again and bulk actions. And here I'll go ahead and I'll pick that broadcast email again. So it's that 5th one down, broadcast email. Select my template this time. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick that prospecting email number 1, which as you can see, go ahead and populates right here. Still for my 13, still has my display name and my email the way I set that up, and went ahead and populated my subject as well. So in here, hi, it's going to be that, mail merge hashtag pound, again, whichever kind of generation you belong to. first name, and then my actual email here. And then as we can see again, maybe I don't want to have all that gap, just kind of customize it a little. There's my signature, and as I had already put that into my email template, they are already mixed off here. So earlier, I did not save that category. Maybe I want to change this to something else, or maybe I do want to lump this under prospecting. You have that choice for that category again. Maybe I'm not worried about that, however you want to do it. And then again, you'll just send that broadcast email. Now, the one other thing I do want to point out is you do have this attachment as well for these choose files. But the one thing to keep in mind when you are attaching multiple documents, let's say maybe we're sending an email that has 3 pages that needed signatures. They do all need to be in like the same folder, because you are just going to literally like highlight them all and add them in at the same time. If they exist in different folders across your documents, it'll actually remove it with the attachment. So you do need to make sure that they are all in the same folder itself when you're adding the attachments. But you can definitely add attachments to a broadcast email. Just to make sure you're adding the right one. Nothing's worse than you sending it out to 13 or 578 people and it's the wrong document. You're going to send a follow-up broadcast saying, whoops, my bad. Just save yourself, make sure it's the right one. But again, you'll just send broadcast email from here. Go ahead and do that, brings you back, and you're good from there. Now, the one other thing here, before I even sent that broadcast, maybe I did want to make sure that, hey, all of these prospects did have that primary email address. So still on this same list, I could have definitely just come over here, contact options at custom exports, to find those primary email addresses missing. So I'm going to go ahead and put in here, I've got that finding primary email, run that custom export. It's going to give me an Excel document itself that'll list off who has what email. And again, if there's nothing in the contact itself, so if I were to pull up Peggy here and there's nothing in her email, it'll come into the Excel itself blank. So you'll know right then and there, like going, whoops, let's fix that. So you definitely can take that in here. So definitely that is kind of like the rundown of broadcast emails. I'll kind of just give a quick little recap again. But the good news is that this is recorded. So if there's anything that you're like, I need to review this really fast, this is going to be recorded. So you do have that option. But again, really simple when it comes to broadcast emails. Just always recommend starting off by going to your preferences, setting up that email section almost all the way at the bottom, making sure all of this is filled out to your liking. This, of course, has to be filled out to how it's supposed to be, so not to your liking. And then again, hopping into manage your account and just taking a look at those email templates and custom exports templates to be able to run and make your life easy. And then if you're ever curious about that history, building that broadcast email. Now, the one other thing I do want to point out too is I did pick all contacts from this page and then I ran an advanced search. You can always do it from a quick list or a tag group as well. So if you've got a quick list, and maybe it is like this newsletter, maybe I have my newsletter ready to go, I've got the attachment and I want to send out that broadcast email, I can do that, all 79 records from here, contact options, bulk actions, and then I can again send that broadcast email, that 5th option down. So if I had one here where it's like newsletter, something like that, I'd go ahead and I'd pick that email template. Or maybe I like to, mix it up every month type of thing. I just come in here and be like, newsletter, September. If I could spell September, there we go. Come down here, put that body of that information. And then again, I got those couple of options coming for that copy, notes, and sending yourself a copy. So a couple of items there for you to do. But again, broadcast email is pretty simple of a concept. The one thing I do always like to point out though, this isn't necessarily going to completely remove any other kind of marketing. This is mostly just going to be for those, common emails that we've got to send out, like that prospecting or that we're moving, but definitely still feel free to use those other marketing tools that are available for you.
Thanks so much for joining us today for this particular session. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-206-5030, option 3 for support, or just shoot us an email over to support@redtailtechnology.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.